The MVP debate for 2023 has been hotly debated every single week since November. And when you really look at it, there's 5 to 6 guys who have real arguments for winning this award. But like most years, the later you get in the season, the more guys drop out, and the herd finally thins with a frontrunner emerging. And for the first time this year, I think finally we have a clear frontrunner, and we know who's going to win the award when it's all said and done. And to spoil it really quickly, Luka Doncic is going to win the 2023 MVP and be the youngest winner since LeBron James in 2009. And looking at the last 2 months, after Dallas went 10-10 and with the 11th seed in the West, Luka since that moment has been absolutely bonkers, averaging 35 points, 9 boards, 9 assists on 50, 39, and 74 splits. And compared to the other candidates in the MVP race, Luka right now is playing at a higher level than everyone. As Kevin Durant, he was playing great, but now he's hurt, and Brooklyn of course is going to fall off to the 3rd or 4th seed. Looking at Giannis, he already has 2 MVPs, and over the past week has scored under 10 points twice. Looking at someone like Curry, he's been hurt and banged up, and his Golden State team is in the bottom half of the Western Conference. Looking at someone like Tatum, his Boston team has a great record, but his overall play isn't as dominant as Luka. And when it comes to Embiid, he also has been banged up, and his Philly team is pretty meh in the Eastern Conference. And last but not least, you have Nikola Jokic, whose overall play and numbers have been fantastic, but the one thing that will haunt him is voter fatigue, owning 2 MVPs back-to-back. You can look at all those candidates, and in one respect or another, there's a flaw in their MVP case. Compared to Luka, who's young, hasn't won the award, has great numbers, and his Dallas team is 4th in the West. Historically in NBA history, that combination equals MVP. And to drop some cold hard facts in Luka's favor, if he wins the MVP, he'll have the highest scoring average since Michael Jordan in 1988 for an MVP winner. And historically, by averaging 34.3 points, that would be the 2nd highest ever for an MVP winner, behind Bob McAdoo in the mid-70s. And speaking of Michael Jordan, him and Luka actually have a lot in common on the offensive end, as historically, these 2 guys are on pace to be the only players to average 32, 8, and 8 in a single season. And looking at Luka's last 10 games, once again he joins Jordan in an historic feat, as in those 10 games, he's averaging 40.2 points per game, the youngest player since Jordan to average 40 over a 10-game stretch. And last but not least, if Luka wins MVP, he'll join Westbrook and the Big O as the only winners to average 30, 8, and 8 in a single season. It's pretty clear to anyone Luka Doncic is putting up video game-like numbers. But even more impressive, he's doing that with an average team and supporting cast. As in Dallas, he has no teammate averaging above 20 points. And Tim Hardaway, one of his better supporting cast players, has been highly inconsistent, shooting below 40%. And looking at someone like Spencer Dinwiddie, outside of Luka, he's the only ball handler and shot creator on the roster. Looking at Dallas' overall team and Luka's play, it is very reminiscent of Jokic last year in his MVP campaign. As just like the Joker, Luka this year is leading his team in points, rebounds, assists, as well as steals, and is responsible for an astounding 50.1% of the overall offense. And once again, assuming if Luka wins MVP, I could have a very compelling argument. Him and Jokic in back-to-back years had 2 of the best carry jobs for an MVP winner all time, up there with Westbrook, Jordan, and even LeBron James. And like some fans do with the MVP, they take it literally as the most valuable player. And looking at Luka this year, of course, he is highly valuable, ranking 2nd in wins responsible for, only behind Tatum at 12.45. Also behind Tatum, he ranks 2nd in real plus minus at 8.69. Now adding context to those numbers, Jason Tatum, unlike Luka, has a stacked roster with Jaylen Brown, Rob Williams, Marcus Smart, etc., etc. Now, the one last thing I'll say regarding Luka's team in Dallas, their overall brand of basketball is extremely slow and grinded out, as right now, they rank 29th, second to last, in overall pace, which makes Luka averaging 34 that more impressive. And looking through NBA history, a player leading the NBA in scoring and being bottom 2 in pace has only been done by Jordan in the past 30 years. Now, going on a quick side tangent, one thing I do want to talk about is one of my own takes from early on in the NBA season regarding Luka and Kevin Durant. My take back then months ago was that Luka Doncic had surpassed Kevin Durant as the better overall player in 2023. As Luka was healthier, he can carry a roster better, he's better in the playoffs, and his passing and playmaking far exceeds Kevin Durant. I got tons of heat in the moment for that statement, but now a few months later, I think Luka once again has proven he's better than Kevin Durant. Don't get me wrong, KD is still great, he's fantastic, but a common theme for him post-2019 is being injured and on the sidelines, compared to Luka, who's nearly always healthy, available, and productive for his team. And one thing I do want to highlight in comparison to Kevin Durant, who is highly efficient, over the past 2 months Luka is shooting an astounding 39.7% from 3 and 50.5% from the field. In comparison to Kevin Durant, Luka Doncic, right now in the moment, is healthier, more reliable, a better volume scorer, a better rebounder, a much better passer, and the playoffs always shows up. And looking past KD versus Luka in that debate, one thing I do want to talk about is the NBA's scoring surge and teams putting up absurd numbers, as teams this year are averaging 113.9 points, the 9th highest in NBA history and the highest since 1970. Scoring in today's NBA is undoubtedly easier than ever, as right now as I'm making this video, there are a whopping 42 players averaging 20 points. And when it comes to a player dropping 50, that nowadays is equivalent to 40 points 15 years ago. As 3-point shooting is inflated, the pace is inflated, and overall defense is highly diminished. You know the one guy over the past couple years who's constantly hammered this point home, that defense is soft and offense is out of control? Besides me and you, it was also Luka Doncic, who on this point has been proven right time and time again. And looking at his play this year, despite not being a freak athlete, even a great shooter, Luka still is dominating off pure skill. And compared to NBA defenses, he's toying with them in the NBA rulebook. As for comparison, when he plays in Europe in the Eurobasket, that defense is undoubtedly harder. I wouldn't say the players are better, but the rules are more balanced in favor of the defense. As there's no 3 seconds, it's more physical, there's a smaller court, and there's no cheap fouls or rip-through calls on jump shots. This overall point right here goes beyond Luka and even this video, as in the coming years Luka Doncic quite literally is going to rewrite history with the records that he puts up. As when it comes to NBA scoring surge, I don't see them stopping anytime soon, given the rules as well as 3-point shooting. Now, with that being said, once again, looking at Luka Doncic right now, he's 23 going on 24, and to this date is undoubtedly one of the best offensive players we've ever seen. And to be that young, they mentioned with Jordan, Kobe, LeBron in numerous record books, is simply absurd. And with that being the case, I am definitely confident Luka Doncic is going to walk away with his first of many MVPs. As always, thank you guys for watching, hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you guys next time.